I love this island, but it's a little too dark for our kitchen. What about if we did something more like, yes, much better. But how are we gonna sand inside? Don't worry y'all, I have a plan. Meet Narwhal. Narwhal can mop and vacuum. So while I was sanding, we simply set up Narwhal to vacuum only the kitchen, using its intelligent navigation system. I started by sanding the entire island with 80 grit sandpaper. This is to remove the initial layer. Once the initial layer was removed from the top, I switched to 120 grit sandpaper. In some instances, to remove layers of stain, you can use oven cleaner or bleach, but since we'll be preparing food on this surface and refinishing the entire thing indoors, I thought it was better to skip the chemicals. After the large sections were sanded down, I used a small hand sander to sand the legs. Next, it was time to work on the cracks and deep gashes. I started by cleaning them out and then filling them with stainable wood filler. After the wood filler was sanded down, I used a pre-stain to prepare the wood for staining. I also decided it was a good time to send our Narwhal to mop, since the sanding had finally come to an end. It's pre-programmed to mop the kitchen floor, which makes switching from vacuuming to mopping super simple. My favorite part is that the Narwhal automatically goes to mop wash all by itself, and it dries its mops to avoid bacteria growing after completing a mopping task. Now that the pre-stain was dry, it was time to start testing out some stain colors. It was hard to decide because we wanted brown, but just something a little bit lighter. We ended up going with Natural Stain by Minwax, which I applied with a brush. I let the stain penetrate the wood and then wiped it dry. Me and Narwhal continued on working. I did end up having to use a little bit of a darker stain on the legs, something more in the Mocha family, because you can see here that it was just too light. I also added the dark stain to the wood filler. Once the natural stain was completely dry, I added a little whitewash to the top. The whitewash is perfect for lightening up and accenting the distressed portions. The main thing to remember when using a whitewash is to not let it set for too long. You want to be sure to wipe it with a lint-free cloth into your other stain. Once all the stain was dry, I used a clear wax to seal the finish. Y'all, this table looks and feels so much better. The best part is, thanks to Narwhal, I didn't have to do any major cleanup. The only question left is, what am I going to do with those stools? Don't forget to follow Southern Yankee DIY for more simple projects. Thanks for watching us on Home Talk.